I believe that our nation was at a strategic inflection point. I'm going to go back to 1963. A man by the name of Martin Luther King Jr. stood at our nation's capital, at Lincoln Memorial Park. He gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech.
Well.
In that speech, he uttered a sentence, "I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed." We hold these truths to be self-evident, and that all men are created equal. And Martin Luther King stood at our nation's capital and said, we're no longer going to let this land be separated because of people because of the color of their skin. We're no longer going to see discrimination and see bathrooms saying blacks only. We're no longer going to restaurants where they got to sit in the back, where other people can go in the front door. Our nation was at a strategic inflection point that day, and it took a path to where we are today, that now we can see, as here, black folk, white folk, Latinos, Asians, all sitting together. I wish our kids today out there in the streets could really understand the sacrifices that that generation made in that day, and really appreciate it. And so, they will. The light is going to shine. Because we're taking the gospel to them. We're taking the truth to them. But our life is full of decisions, strategic inflection points, divine appointments, and I don't know what season you are in your life, but it can change with one word. Amen. One word from God can change your whole situation. Amen. One simple decision based on your conscience and what's morally right can lead you into another season in your life. I'm believing today that you will receive a divine appointment. I'm believing today you'll be at a strategic inflection point in your life. Amen. That when you leave this place, you will be changed. Amen. Changed forever. Yes. I have to share with you, there was a time in my life, my junior year in high school, where I was at a strategic inflection point. I was raised here in Columbus, Ohio. Wonderful parents to hear, my mom and dad. They did the best thing they could to raise 6 children and teach us good morals and teach us, right from wrong. But they could not completely shelter us from the influences of society. Amen. Because of that, myself, I was taught a lot of bad things. A lot of things to living on the streets, and well, not living on the streets, but living in the neighborhoods we lived in and hanging out with some of the people we did. Some of the people my parents knew about, some of the people they didn't. Mm-hmm. They didn't know completely what was going on, but I knew what was going on. And I was being taught the things of this world, the ideology of this world. I was taught sex before marriage was fine. I was taught, if you get in an argument, you physically fight. Yeah. And whoever wins that fight wins the argument. There's some people in the neighborhood that never won an argument. But these are things that I was taught in my society. I've seen people, drinking, socially and to handle their problems. Right. They say, well, you're depressed, go ahead and drink. Not knowing that they're getting more depressed as they drink. I was taught many things in the world, and I was going down that path, even though I was living morally right in some respect. I would honor my parents. I always honor my mom and dad, honor authority. I worked, even though they said lying and cheating and stealing was the way to go. They said, if you want something, steal it. And so, you're good until you get caught. So that's what people do. That's what the world was teaching. So, it came a time in my life, a strategic inflection point, my junior year in high school. I got to a place where I was depressed. I had tried a lot of things in the world and lived with their ideology. And it got to a point of not only depression, but thoughts of suicide. I didn't want to live anymore. I played on the basketball team. I had on the outside, everybody could look and say, Tom got it going on. You know, he's played on the basketball team, got a job, worked with my dad. He's an entrepreneur. Could work, have money that way whenever I wanted. You know, I was playing on the basketball team, you know, popular in school, had the gear today, the Jordans. I mean, that was the big thing here. And on the outside, it could look like every Tom got it going on. Mm-hmm. But on the inside, I knew I was empty. On the inside, I knew that life has to be more than just this, because and this is the way I felt. I said, if this is all life has to offer, then I might as well be dead.
Right. Well.
Come on.
There's a lot of people out there who are going through the same thing.
That's right.
No matter how we look on the outside, and that's why the word says, don't judge a man by the flesh, but by the spirit. And during this time, my uncle, my mom's brother, he took me to a friend's house. In the natural, this is my uncle, his reason, he knew I wanted to play in the NBA. And so he took me over to a friend, his name is Top Bell. He took me over to his house, he played in the NFL, was retired, because he lived here in Columbus. We went to his house, and my uncle was like, I'm taking you because, you know, if you want to make it to the league, you know, there's some information from a guy that he's been in that arena, he can give you that information. And so we went actually seeking how I could, you know, take the path to make it to the NBA. But God had another reason for that. So we talked about 2 or 3 hours, and we talked about, you know, work ethic. We talked about staying off the streets. Sometimes not hanging out with your boys and all that. During the whole time, we talked about 2 or 3 sentences. He said about 2 or 3 sentences about God, the Bible, and praying. And those 3 sentences, it wasn't the essence of the conversation at all. It was just a couple sentences here, a couple sentences there, and that's what stuck in my spirit. And so, and they didn't know that I was fighting the thoughts of suicide. They didn't know I was fighting the thoughts of depression and why I even live, because this is the world system. I'm you know, it ain't doing nothing for me. And so, you know, I went home and knocked on my mom's door, and I said, Mom, can I have a Bible? And she was like, you know, I knew it kind of shook her spirit, so she's like, yeah, I'll bring one out to you. And then I had went downstairs and then came back, and I was like, hey, Mom, can I have a Bible? You know, because I kind of felt like she was maybe keeping something from me. And she gave me an Amplified Bible. And I said, Mom, what should I read? She said, the book of Proverbs. She was like, that's the book of wisdom, the book of wisdom. And I began to open the Bible, searching for something. And I tell you, just in Proverbs alone, I found almost everything that I needed.
Yeah.
You know, I found out that the world lied to me.
Right.
And I don't know about you, I don't like to be lied to. So when I found out the world lied to me, I got kind of mad. You know, you're not supposed to drink your problems away. You know, you can be filled with the Spirit of God. But my life at that point had changed. I made a decision, and I was seeking. Now, one part of being saved is being real with yourself.
Yes.
You know, being real with yourself, saying, this is who I am, this is the state I'm in. God, I need you. And, you know, being pure before God with that and the openness, He began to speak to me through His Word. And I began to get filled with His Word. And you know, I had a purpose now living. You know, I had direction. I had a moral standard on which I would conduct myself. They lied to me, and I have a great life. And I love my life. I love living. I get up every day and thank the Lord. Lord, this is the day that you have made.
Amen.
I rejoice in that. I have a reason to live today. And so do you.